I was born into a very toxic household. Constant arguing back and forth, yelling, slamming doors. This was the reality of my childhood growing up. To try and escape from everything going on around me, I would turn on my tablet, plug in my earbuds, and put on my favorite TV show or movie. And just like that, everything else in the world would just disappear. I loved all of the stories they were telling and how it made me feel. And I looked at it, and I knew I wanted to do something like that. My parents got divorced when I was in 5th grade. This helped my life at home. But yet I still found myself wanting to escape from the reality of my life into all of these fictional stories. So when I got into middle school, I decided to join theater arts and begin acting. I loved the fact that I could disappear from the life I was living and pretend to be somebody else. As much as I enjoyed acting, something was missing. Even though it had been a couple years since my parents had been divorced, I still found myself struggling with the past of my childhood. So I started writing. It was the perfect way for me to express everything I was feeling. But I wanted to do more than just write. I wanted to be able to visually tell these stories. But I was born and raised in a small little town called Alt, Colorado. There were no filmmaking classes at my high school, so I just decided to stick with what we did have. So I stuck with theater arts, just only this time opening up about wanting to do writing and directing. And I joined yearbook so I could do photography, videography, and editing.
When we first talked about your screenwriting and that leading into directing, we had a discussion about, do you see it in your head? Can you see it all playing out? And you said, yeah, it's like a movie. And you told me about that about your reading too. It's like a movie. And so you already had it going before you started figuring out what tools you needed to make it successful.
Do you know how to canoe? I love to canoe. Notice the brass doorknobs. It was a gift from my grandfather too. My father was on the
I was the student director for my theater arts class for 3.5 years. I was finally able to bring stories to life. I felt everything aligning and working out perfectly for me. But then my life at home became unstable again. I was instantly brought back to the little girl who was scared. I felt like no matter how close I was getting to my goals and dreams, the self-doubt and the instability was always just gonna come back to haunt me. I didn't know the first technical thing about filmmaking. So how could I be a filmmaker? I didn't believe in myself anymore. I didn't think I could make a career out of it. So I stopped writing. I felt my passion for it slowly drifting away as the darkness started to drift in. I turned to one of my teachers for advice and support, and I quickly realized that I wasn't the only one seeking help.
Mental health is an issue. There are a lot of kids that are struggling with mental health nowadays.
There were a handful of other students that would come in during their free time and we would discuss things with one another. They reminded me I'm capable of anything I put my mind to and that I deserve to go after filmmaking. Hearing everyone's stories and experiences reminded me of my life calling. I remembered why I fell in love with storytelling in the first place. I realized that I didn't need to have filmmaking classes or mentors to be classified as a filmmaker. I just had to do what I knew best. Tell a story. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to bring awareness and comfort to those watching. To make people feel less alone in a world full of billions of people. My name is Ciara Evans, and I am more than just a filmmaker. I am a photographer, a writer, a director. The list goes on, but most important of all, I am a storyteller.